Hey guys, so this video it's basically part two of the Black Ice Fusion 360 preamp that I've got that the boys have still kindly have it on loan. So the other day I had some time on my hands. I gotta keep doing this shit when I'm drinking, man, because time is on my side, time on my hands, whatever. Okay, have another drink, Joe. So I set it all up, and holy shitballs. Everything's set up properly. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea when you're playing with the stereo expander and playing with the back levels and all this. Well, it was pretty easy to dial in, and you can't do it via remote control, which doesn't. I'm not going to say it would be nice if those two pots, the back level pot and the stereo expander, had motorized volume controls and just put a few extra buttons on the remote. Again, it's a minor peeve. Anyway, getting back to the sound quality. Well, for some stuff, it will turn it into a hot mess. Case in point, Pink Floyd's Us and Them from Dark Side of the Moon studio LP, not the Pink Floyd Pulse box set version, which to me, sound wise, blows the studio version away. That song has always been a hot mess when all the dynamics and everything came through. I don't know what the fuck happened in the studio. You know, I know that, and I've said this before in videos, the 5.1 SACD blows any stereo version of that song out of the fucking water because all that hot mess is now spread out between 5 channels and your subs. Okay, so the stereo expander, no matter how you set it or dialed it, could not help it. Where this thing shined was it doesn't work like the David Hafler Dynaco circuit, right? Where you do the whole trick with the speaker phasings and you know, it's a really convoluted thing. Supposedly it works really cool. This Jim Fosgate, this is his own design. Everything's done in the analog domain, so there's no DSP of any kind. I guess you could call it ASP, right? Analog signal processing, just like the old Bose EQs. Technically, they were ASP too, analog signal processing. Well, I played some jazz LPs and CDs, stuff, right? And holy fuck, you know how a lot of these jazz LPs have a hard right and a hard left and absolutely nothing in the Phantom Center? And the reissues, they try to honor it by keeping it that way, which really bugs me. Well, the F360 now has a new purpose in my rig. I'm going to fire that motherfucker up every time I get one of these hard right, hard left. And the same thing with the old Beatles discs. George Martin, rest in peace, did a beautiful job back in '87, right? Did release the first 4 in mono, released the other ones in stereo, but then he kept the whole hard right, hard left, and didn't try to rebalance the vocals and give them a phantom center and then put the... And again, this was 1987, so maybe the technology wasn't there. Obviously, Giles Martin has fixed all that and remedied it. I wish those motherfuckers would put Revolver on a Blu-ray disc, but they won't, right? Fuck you, fucking EMI Capital, for not fucking doing that disc yet. So, anyway, getting back to what this video is all about, the F360 is definitely not going to be everybody's cup of tea, right? But in my rig, it's an excellent augmentation to what I have. To rely on it as my sole preamp, I can't do it. I mean, my rig is totally balanced. All my equipment's balanced outputs, right? Every single thing. So the F360 does have a pair of XLR inputs, but Jared told me they're not a true balanced circuit, right? And that's fine. That's fine. But it's a great little box for if you've got some, you know, LPs and CDs and source material that you just kind of wish you could do this, you could do that, because none of these up mixers that come with your audio video receiver None of them work right. In the 25 years that I've been doing this shit, nothing worked. Now, shit came out with a box that I would love to get my hands on, because that supposedly will upmix a stereo track to 5.1, but do it in a sensible way. I guess this is Mike Moffat's magic that's doing it, right? So I saw the review on that, and that's and for $400, it's a good alternative to the, even though Black Ice guys are my friends and everything else, but I'd have to try that shit box out before I can say, hey man, it's fucking awesome. Do I want to go shelling out $400? Well, right now I don't have the funds or the means, right? I could reach out to shit and see if maybe they'd lend me one, you know, but the one thing the reviewer did say was the one problem with that shit box is integrating it into your existing home theater setup. Now, in my case, it's integrating the F360 was not too hard, right? I have my friend Craig gave me an XLR switcher, right? So I could basically take the outputs of the F360, the outputs of the bat preamp, and then feed them into the my Black Ice amps for the front left and right channels, and just turn the switch. It's a very short signal path, so whatever fancy cables I got, it's not going to get in the way of those, right? So that's a setup that I'm going to be working on next, because I tell you, the F360 has its purposes. Again, it woke up my electrostatic headphones, right? Couldn't ask for more. And then what it did to a lot of these jazz LPs that are hard right, hard left, it literally, you guys have heard this shit 1,000 times, brings the musicians into the room. Now, it doesn't do what these guys do, where, the bass is going to be 10 feet tall, the vocalist is going to be 10 feet tall and 20 feet wide and all that, and there's no imaging. No, no, not at all. Mind you, these don't do that either. It's just people don't know how to set the fucking things up. If they had a half a brain and knew how to do it, they wouldn't trash these things. Sorry, this is only my second drink, or 1.5 drinks. So yeah, if you want to get a really cool preamp, when I say really cool, if all your sources are single-ended RCAs, this would be the preamp to get. Because again, with everything at its quote-unquote zero positions, the sound is identical to what comes out of my Balanced Audio Technologies VK50 SE preamp. No difference. In fact, I'm driving there's a tape out buffer on the bat. It's actually, that's what I feed into the F360. That way I've got my switching all through my remote control, so nothing changes other than breaking the chain from the bat into the Black Ice F100s. I just break that chain with the F360s, set my volume controls accordingly so there's no distortion, and life is good. So yeah, that's my part 2 of the F360. And again, Zeos over at Z Reviews, he did a much better, more detailed review of this stuff. But that's my take on it. Again, thank you to the guys for having it on loan for me for so long. And cheers once again. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and the rest of your week for that matter. Bye for now. Like and subscribe.